Recording in progress.
No, I don't want to. They're your favorites, right? No, it doesn't matter. Come on. Just. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prishtaya Shri Bhakti Vriksha. Saraswati Auravani Pachari Nirvishesha Sunyava Asyadhyadashtata Parane. Yeah. Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama,
Haribol.
Krishna.
Recording in progress.
Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Kung चालू आहे याच्यात चालू बी नाही हे नाही करू शकत
Krishna Krishna
तेच आवाज येते का हा तेच म्हटलं नाहीये कशाला वाजवत वाटतं?
Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Can you hear online devotees? Can you hear clearly or no?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I'm going to pass right now.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nice, nice. Keep it. Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavate Uttama Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Harim Pranamamyaham
Tammarim Pranamyamyaham
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Harim Pranamamyaham
Tammarim Pranamamyaham
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Harim Pranamamyaham
Tammarim Pranamamyaham.
Hare Krishna. So last Friday, we covered 3 more verses. So first 6 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, we've already discussed. So just to recap, the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam talks mainly about who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, who Bhagavan is. The second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam talks about what is there in Bhagavatam. It says Bhagavate in Srimad Bhagavatam. What is there? It says Dharma. Dharma is there. What kind of Dharma is there? It says Dharma Projita Kaitava Paramaha. It says Parama Dharma is there. And then the third verse talks about, Dharma that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Dharma is a very jatila subject, very complex subject. Is it so difficult even in Srimad Bhagavatam? So the third verse talks about it's very simple. it says Bhagavatam Rasam. The complex matters of dharma, they are made so simple by Shukadev Goswami that it becomes very easy to understand. So Pibata Rasam, and that Rasam is Bhagavatam. And then we looked at how this Bhagavatam came about to us. So the Bhagavatam was spoken first by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And this happened on the banks of river Yamuna. And then this Bhagavatam at that time was heard by Srila Suta Goswami. So Suta Goswami, who's heard Bhagavatam, comes to a place called Naimisharanya. So the whole setup of this Bhagavatam is that how in Naimisharanya these sages received Bhagavatam from Suta Goswami. So last 3 verses, previous Friday, we talked about the qualifications of Suta Goswami. We talked about how a qualified person like Suta Goswami was received by sages in Naimisharanya. So, couple of important points that we discussed last time, that a person who is exalted like Suta Goswami is exalted because he is well versed in Puranas, Itihasas, and Dharma Shastras. So all these 3 aspects, Suta Goswami was well versed. Why he was well versed? He was anagha. He was sinless. So because he was sinless, he had the capacity to absorb this. And then there are 2 things that's talked about: akhyatani, api adhithani. That Srila Suta Goswami, he's understood everything. The 3 things that we talked about: Itihasa, Purana, Dharma Shastra. All these things, he is adhitani, he is understood, he is assimilated. And akhyatani, he's able to explain it in a way that becomes easy for others to assimilate. So today we will look at 7, 8, and 9. So we'll see how far we'll get. So please, if you have, go to the Bensalem Bhakti Vriksha, and then there is a link I've sent. So look at the text number 7, and you can repeat. Yani Veda Vidam Shreshto,
Yani Veda Vidam Shreshto,
Bhagavan Badarayana,
Bhagavan Badarayana,
Anye Chamunaya Suta,
Anye Chamunaya Suta,
Maravara Vido Viduhu.
Varavara Vido Viduhu.
So we've seen that Suta Goswami is an expert in these 3 things: Purana, Itihasa, and Dharma Shastra. Now, all these 3 things he is an expert. Why? Because he has the blessings and association of great exalted personalities. The examples that are given here is Badarayana. It said Bhagavan Badarayana. Badarayana is another name for Vyasadeva. So Suta Goswami had the personal association of Vyasadeva. And that is the reason why Suta Goswami could actually absorb all these complex matters, the metaphysical matters. And then there were other sages who are para, avara, vidaha. It says these people, vidaha means they know, with means to know. So what did these sages know? They knew para and apara. So para vidya, apara vidya. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhumi, Vapo, Analo, Vayu, Kam, Mana, Buddhir, Evacha, Aparam, Aparam, Aparayam. So he says these material the physical universe that we see, the knowledge that's related to the constituents of this universe in respect to the physical aspects, which constitute of earth, fire, water, air, ether. So everything that we see in this universe is just a combination of these elements. So that knowledge is apara vidya. So that is physical knowledge. So these munis, these sages, they were experts in this physical knowledge. And there are many examples how, if you're an expert, you can manipulate any of these material physical objects and then get what you want. There's one thing that I remember, Swami Rama, a very well-known yogi who came to US like in 1960s. He recounts this one of his experiences, that when he lived in Himalayas, a long time he lived in Himalayas practicing yoga, his guru had sent him to a person that was a little far on the other side of Himalayas. He said, go to that person and then he will teach you something. So Swami Rama, when he went to that person was ready and he said, oh, come, your guru has sent you, right? I know about it. Then Swami Rama was surprised because there was no telephone, there was nothing there, right? Himalayas, what is there? So he was surprised how he got that information. So somehow they could actually, using this pure physical matter, could communicate without the cell phones and cell phone technology, right? Now, after that, that person says, what do you like to eat? He says, I like rasgulla. So then he says, go to the river bank. There is a corpse that is lying there. Get the corpse. So he goes and gets the corpse. And then this person just uses the flesh from the corpse, puts it in a pot, and then when he takes it out, he has gulab jamuns. So those people that are knowledgeable about avara, para and avara, the physical objects, how the science behind the physics, they can transform anything into anything else. It's just a matter of combination of what exists in this matter, right? So these sages were para and avara vidaha. Avara is physical matters. They were experts in that. And also para, which is metaphysical, which is beyond what our senses can comprehend. So because Suta Goswami had association with these exalted personalities, he could actually understand the supreme science about the Supreme Lord. So let's look at the next verse, text number 8. These are the verses that are being spoken by the sages that have assembled in Naimisharanya. So they are glorifying Suta Goswami, in a way giving us many pointers about Suta Goswami and also about many tattvas. So we'll see one or two such tattvas also. Text number 8. Vetatvam saumya tatsarvam.
Vetatvam saumya tatsarvam.
Tattvatas tadanugrahat.
Tattvatas tatanugraha.
Bhuyuhu snigdhasya shishyasya.
Guru siddhasya siddhasya.
Guravo guhyamapyuta.
Guravo guhyamapyuta.
So you see, Vetatvam, Tvam is you. Veta, you know. Tat sarvam, all that. What is it? Para and apara vidya. Avara and para and avara vidya. Physical and metaphysical knowledge, you know how it comes to that. You know all that. Tat sarvam, tattvatas. Tattvatas means in reality. So for example, we also know there are, as Krishna says, there are 5 elements. Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Ka, right? But then we cannot transform a corpse flesh into rasgulla, right? So one who really understands the secret, tattvataha, that person understands all aspects of how these matter can be transferred. And also metaphysically, how things exist, how they come into being, how these things progress. And that is why these exalted personalities, they are called Trikala Gnanis. They know past, present, and future because they can actually see them because they have understood the principle behind it. So, tattvataha, understanding something, tattvataha, is very important. So that is why even Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam yomam veti tattvataha. So it says, Tektva deham punar janma na eti mam eti so Arjuna. Krishna says, if you understand the janma and karma of my appearance, then once you leave your body, you will not come back again to this material universe. You will go back, right? Now we've read Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto many times. Every Janmashtami we hear, the katha of how Krishna appeared, and we hear all pastimes of Krishna, right? But then, why is it that we have been taking birth and birth again? Just with that knowledge, we cannot actually get the fruit. Like last week, Vipla Prabhu was asking that in Skanda Purana also it is said that if you if you just pull the chariot of Jagannath, you'll go back to spiritual world. You will not come back, right? But why is it not happening to everyone that pulls it? Like, just by that self, can you go back? Will that be qualification enough? So the answer is because we don't do this or understand this tattvataha. So the tattva comes only through the mercy of Guru. That is what it is said. Tad anugrahat. So anugraha is the mercy of Guru and these exalted devotees. So if we don't have that anugraha, then it becomes very difficult for us to understand the tattva, the core principle behind all these physical and metaphysical spheres. So that is why it says, Bruyuhu snigdhasya shishyasya guhyam guravaha guhyam apiuta. So it says Guru, spiritual master, Bruyuhu, they will tell you, they will explain what guhyam, the secrets. If you understand the secret, then you have understood the tattva. So to understand the secret, you need a guru, right? And why and when will the guru give you the secrets? That is said here. It says snigdhasya shishyasya. Very important. So we'll just discuss about this tattva by looking at some examples. Let's understand what snigdhasya means. Shishya, we understand, disciple. Guru, we understand, the spiritual master. So a guru, bruyuhu, shishyasya, guhyam, secret. What is the qualification for a guru to give shishya the secret to understand tattva? So that is given as snigdhasya. So snigna is a very overloaded word again. So one way of understanding snigna is you take ghee or oil, put it in your hand, and then wash it with water. What happens? The oil still sticks, right? It doesn't leave you. So snigdha, one way is attachment. So a shishya, when he is attached to Guru in this way, so what does that mean? Attaching to the Guru in this way. Not that you have to keep hugging the Guru wherever he goes or following the Guru, become tail of Guru. There is this thing that Srila Prabhupada also said, that a lot of, Prabhupada once said that there are many of his disciples that get the personal association, but there are many that do not get his personal association. So Prabhupada said there was a fly or a mosquito sitting on his body. He says, see this mosquito, it's sitting on my body. It has the closest personal association. What is the use? It is sucking my blood, right? So just physically what it means, being in close proximity with Guru doesn't mean you have attachment. So attachment really comes when you hear and follow the instructions of Guru in spirit, not in letter. There is a difference between following things just mechanically, but then following Guru's instructions within the heart. So there are many examples. One such example from Mahabharata. So there is, we know Pandavas. Pandavas, Purohita is Daumya Muni, very powerful, exalted personality, self-realized. So Daumya Muni has many shishyas, many disciples. One of the disciple is called Baida. So this disciple was so subservient and submissive to the Guru. He was serving Guru so much that Guru was very pleased with this disciple. So what happens? Once Daumya Muni had to leave the ashram and go somewhere else. So he calls his disciple Baida and says, I'm going to leave the ashram for some time. In my absence, you take my position. And whatever I am responsible for, I'm giving you the responsibility. So you have to accept those responsibilities. He said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I'll accept. So Guru leaves. Daumya Muni leaves, and after a few days, there are many women that come to Baida, the disciple who is in charge now, and they say, Guru Patni is now in the cycle of procreation. So in those days, when women would get into that cycle of reproduction, they would not waste that cycle. So she had to get pregnant. So they say, now Guru is not here and she has to get pregnant because she cannot waste her eggs, right? So she says, they say, because you've given promise to Guru, and Guru said, you're my responsibility, all my responsibilities here have to be done by you. So it's your responsibility to procreate now in the wife of Guru. So they all force him. See, this is dharma, right? Because you've given word and Guru has given you permission, because Guru said, in my absence, you're responsible for everything that I'm responsible for. Now, if you look at it, it could be very bewildering, right? It is what these women are saying is also true to some extent, because women, Guru Patni then doesn't have to lose her cycle of the procreation and then waste that cycle, right? Now, what Baida does, he refuses to mingle with the Guru's wife and then procreate. Now, when Guru comes, Baida explains to the Guru, this is what happened. And Guru becomes very happy. So Guru says, what you did was because you understood the principle, tattva, right? If you had done only in letter, that means Guru has given his word. You're my replacement. My responsibility is your responsibility. Then, of course, he would have then mingled with Guru's wife to procreate. But then the spirit of that is what? There is Shastra that says Guru Patni Gamana is Brahma Hatya. It's very great sin. So he understood the tattva. Because he understood the tattva, Guru was pleased. So understanding something in letter is very easy. But when it comes to complex matters of dharma, you have to understand the soul, the tattva, which is the spirit behind those instructions. So the Guru was so pleased. And in those days, you had to just serve in the Gurukul. You had to stay in the Gurukul, serve the Guru. And then if the Guru is pleased, Guru would just put his hand on the head of the disciple and say, I'm giving you all the Vidya, and all the Vidya would get transferred, right? It would be so nice, right, these days. If you could do all your games, video games, and end of the year, Guru would say, you're passed, you don't have to do any exam, right? So Baida got that mercy from Guru. So Guru said, I'm so pleased with you. I'm granting you a boon by which you're getting all your desires fulfilled. So he got all the Vedic knowledge, Dharma Shastras, everything. Now, then Baida could leave. Like at that time, basically from the time of Upanayanam to the time of you finish your education, 12 years, then only you could leave the Guru's ashram. But Baida, because Guru gave him mercy, he left. Now, now this is an example of how understanding the tattva pleases your Guru, right? So there is another example of how serving the Guru, and through that service, when Guru gets pleased, not only Guru is pleased, all the devatas gets pleased. How all the devatas help somebody that is following the Guru. And that is the example of what is said here. Guhyam, the secret is known, Bruyuhu, Shishyasya, Guravaha, all the Gurus. Why? Because Snigdhasya. Snigdha means one who is following in spirit Guru's instructions. So Baida leaves and then he sets up his Gurukul. Then he has a disciple by name Uttanka. And this is very interesting. The whole Mahabharata, how the story of Mahabharata was revealed was because of this incident of Uttanka. Very interesting. So this Uttanka is also very exalted. He serves the Gurus so nicely, submissively, learns everything from them, and then Guru is very pleased. So then when the time comes for Uttanka to leave, he's graduated, he has to leave now, Gurukul. So at that time, as was the custom in those days, you have to give Guru Dakshina, because 12 years Guru has taken care of you, provided you everything for your sustenance, and in return you haven't paid anything, no college fees, right? Now, at that time, one has to give Guru Dakshina, offer Guru Dakshina. So Uttanka asks Baida, what can I give you as Guru Dakshina? He says, I don't need anything. Ask my wife if she needs anything. So Uttanka goes to Baida's wife, Guru Mata. So Baida's wife says, if you can get me, if you could do it, if you cannot do, it's okay, I don't mind. But it's very difficult job to do. So if you can, what I want is, there is a king called Pausha, that kingdom. His wife has a kundala, the ear hangings, which is very transcendental, very powerful and transcendental. In 4 days, there is a function in our house, and then I want to wear those transcendental earrings and then serve brahmanas. So if you can, give me that as Guru Dakshina. But it's, how can you get, like, it's king's wife, if you cannot force king to give, even if king wants to give, he cannot force his wife to give, right? Complicated. But then Uttanka says, I'll go. I have mercy of Guru. I'll go, I'll get it. So on the way, he's walking to the king's palace. On the way, he sees a huge bull and somebody sitting on the bull. And then this person sitting on the bull says, I know why you're going, but before you going, can you take the bull's shelter, and you have to Panchagavya. You know what Panchagavya makes is full of, like, it's ghee, milk, dahi, and cow dung and cow urine. So he says you have to consume Panchagavya from this cow, and then you can go ahead. He says, no, I don't want to. Why do I have to? Then the person sitting on the on this Vrishabha, and this bull says, your Guru also did this. So he says, oh, my Guru has done? Okay, I'll do. So he consumes Panchagavya from the cow, and then he leaves. Now, when he goes to the king, he conveys to the king why he has come here. So the king hears him and he says, okay, you go to my palace. My wife is there, Maharani. You ask her and then take the kundala and then you can go. So he goes to the palace and then he looks around. He doesn't see Maharani only there. He gets upset. He comes back to the king. He says, I haven't seen Maharani, like you are playing games. She's not there. Then king says, no, she's a pativrata. If you are impure, she is not visible to you. So did you do anything that you become impure? So then he thinks, people might be thinking because he consumed Panchagavya that maybe he became impure, right? It is not so. Panchagavya actually I was surprised, and it goes back a lot to about the culture, right? Couple of people from India background that I met here, they were surprised when I said when we were little, we would go behind the cow, collecting the cow dung, and then in our grandparents' house, the front of the house, we would mix the cow dung with water, and then we would actually smear it like on the ground so that it's all mud, right? It keeps it clean and no bugs come, right? Then some people were here, cow dung, that's very abominable, right? But then it's not. People that have done this, they don't feel like this, right? Because it's totally different. Yes, other animals excreta is abominable, but not cows, right? But then people that don't have that concept, it's very difficult to understand. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, for example, right from the beginning, if your parents are training you to eat meat, you're trained to eat meat. You don't feel like it is bad, right? But sometime when you grow up, like if you have to eat the meat for the first time, you feel it's so abominable, right? So that is the whole difference. But then by that things, I took Panchagavya, it is purifying, Uttanka is thinking, it is purifying. So why have I become impure? Then he prays to his guru, please tell me, why. Then from within the heart, as Chaitya Guru, he gives him intelligence. Then he remembers after he had consumed Panchagavya, he hadn't done Achamanam. And according to the strict principles, before you eat, you have to do Achamanam. After you eat, you have to do Achamanam. Then he sits down, he performs Achamanam, then he goes to the palace again, and then now he is able to see the Maharani. So he requests Maharani to give the kundala, and Maharani is happy. She gives the kundala. She says, this is for your Guru Dakshina, and it's a very good dhanam for me, I'll give. But she wants, she says, you have to be careful because Takshaka, everyone knows Takshaka, who's Takshaka? Takshaka is that sarpa, that snake, which is a flying snake that came and killed Parikshit Maharaj because of the curse of Shringi. So Maharani says that Takshaka is interested in these kundalas. So he's always looking for a chance to steal them. And then he couldn't come here, but then he will make an effort to steal it when you're carrying it back. So you have to be very careful. So he says, okay, fine. So Uttanka is walking back to his Gurukul, and then on the way, he puts the kundala down so that he could just drink some water. When he puts the kundala down, he sees a sannyasi walk by, and then sannyasi grabs the kundala, he runs. So Uttanka is running behind the sannyasi. Why you are taking my kundala? He's running behind. And sannyasi jumps into an ant hill, and then he disappears. So that sannyasi Vesha was Takshaka. Takshaka came in the form of sannyasi, and then he took it, and then he went inside the anthill. Now, Uttanka needs that, right? So he takes a big stake and he's trying to dig to see where this, Takshaka went. But then Takshaka went into Nagalokam. And how can a stick make you, dig to the Nagloka? It's not going to happen. So Uttanka prays to his Guru again. And then Guru prays to Indra, and Indra sends his Vajrayudha. And Vajrayudha comes and gets into the stick, and one time, he digs, and then there is a hole created all the way to the Nagloka. So he goes all the way to the Nagloka, and then he's praying to the Naga Devatas that somebody came here. He doesn't know Takshaka came. Can you help me? Nobody is visible there to Uttanka. Now he prays to his Guru Maharaj. So his Guru Maharaj makes again arrangements that he sees many people. One of them is a person sitting on a horse, on a horse. And then the person says, you blow into the horse, and then you will see Takshaka appear. So he blows into the horse, and then from the horse, all different parts of the horse, smoke comes out. So smoke fills the whole Nagaloka, and then Takshaka comes out because snakes cannot take smoke. And then he hands over the Kundala. Now, Uttanka got the Kundala, but then Uttanka is now in anxiety because Guru Mata gave only 4 days to go and get the Kundala. It's already close to that last day, 4th day. Now again he pays to Guru. Then this person sitting on the horse says, you take the horse. You sit on the horse, and then horse will take you. So Uttanka sits on the horse, and immediately the next moment he is back in Gurukula. So this is the mercy of the Guru that you get because one has served Guru selflessly. So that is snigdhasya shishyasya. So the service for the Guru has to be not for gaining something, but this is only to gain access to the Supreme Lord. So that is the main thing that one has to remember. Now, actually, Uttanka, just to conclude this story, Uttanka asks, all these strange things happened on the way. What all this means, right? And Guru, being a self-realized person, he says, I know what all happened. The person when you first met, who was sitting on Rishabha, is none other than Indra, and that Rishabha was Airavata. Then he says, when you were trying to dig, you could not initially, but then you could later on dig because Indra sent his Vajrayudha. Then when you went to the Nagaloka, the horse was Agni Dev. And because you are, as a brahmachari, you have to do Agni worship every day. Because of that, Agni Dev was pleased, and that is why Agni Deva helped. Then the person sitting on the horse was Varuna Dev. Varuna Dev sent you, here on his horse because he's my friend. Like Indra is my friend. So all the devatas together help Uttanka. So not only the Guru is helping, but one who is pleased by Guru, all the devatas come to the rescue. Now here is the connection. Now after this, Uttanka is very annoyed by Takshaka because Takshaka caused all this hassle. So Uttanka comes to the son of Parikshit Maharaj, Janamejaya. And then he tells Janamejaya the story about how when Parikshit Maharaj, it was known to the whole world that Parikshit Maharaj was going to be killed by Takshaka. So there was a Brahmana who had special powers that any snake poison, anybody is killed by snake poison, he had a mantra that he could make that person again live, again get back to life. So that Brahmana is coming to Parikshit Maharaj. On the way, Takshaka meets that Brahmana. And he says, do you think you're so powerful that you're going to save Parikshit Maharaj? Do you know who Parikshit Maharaj was going to be bitten by? He says, I know, Takshaka was going to bite. He says, I am that Takshaka. You think you have that power? You show me that power. Then what Takshaka does, he bites a big, huge banyan tree or a peepal tree. So the whole people tree burns into ashes, and all the animals sitting on the people tree, that also burns into ashes, right? Now what happens? This Brahmana, through his mantra, after he uses his mantra, the whole tree comes back to life. So then Takshaka knows that this Brahmana is very powerful. He's going to save Parikshit Maharaj. So then Takshaka says, what are you going to get? What will you get when you go to Parikshit Maharaj? He says, I'm going to ask him for some, riches. So Takshaka says, I'll give you 10 times more than that. You go back. So then Takshaka gives that whatever this Brahmana asks, Brahmana goes back, right? So how did Uttanka know this story? How Uttanka know this story? When all this conversation was happening, there was a person on the branch of that big tree. He was trying to cut a limb of the tree down. When this was happening, he heard this conversation. When Takshaka bit the tree, that person sitting on the branch also burned to ashes. But when the mantra, Brahmana did the mantra, he also came back to life. So this person went around and then told everyone that this happened. Now, when Janamejaya, Parikshit Maharaj's son, heard this, he got very angry at Takshaka. Why? Because there was a curse. Takshaka had to do his duty, which was what? To bite Parikshit Maharaj. Why would he stop somebody from saving Parikshit Maharaj? So Janamejaya becomes very angry. My father would have been alive. If Takshaka hadn't indulged in this act, my father would have been alive. Then he does this Sarpayaga. At that time, Uttanka comes and then tells all this and makes Janamejaya do the Sarpayaga. And then Sarpayaga is stopped in the middle, and then in the Sarpayaga, there is the whole Mahabharata being recited. So Vyasadeva comes, Vaishampayana comes, Vyasadev's disciple, and then Vaishampayana recites the whole Mahabharata to Janamejaya. Just like here in Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear what happened between Parikshit Maharaj, the recital of Suta Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, from Suta Goswami to the sages in Naimisharanya. Likewise, Mahabharata was recited by Vaishampayana to Janamejaya, who is the son of Parikshit Maharaj. And that whole thing again was retold by Suta Goswami to sages in Naimisharanya. Like all the Puranas and Itihasas, they came that way. So the important thing is the importance of Guru when it comes to spiritual advancement. So Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra Uktas Tata Bhavyata Eva Fadbihi. It says Samasta Shastra, all the Shastras, they talk about Guru as Sakshat Hari, means a Hari that is visible to you, Supreme Lord that is visible to you. Guru is not Supreme Lord. Guru is a representative of the Supreme Lord. So unless the mercy of Guru, you cannot get Krishna. And actually there is a saying that goes even beyond this in scriptures, that if Krishna is angry with you, displeased with you, Guru can save you, because Guru, being very dear to Krishna, Guru can offer apologies on your behalf and then save you from Krishna's wrath. But if Guru becomes unpleased with you, even Krishna cannot save or doesn't save, right? So that is the importance of Guru. So in Shastra, there is also this saying, which is one Yasya Deve Parabhaktir Yatha Deve Tata Gurau Tasyetehi Katitaha Artaha Prakashante Mahatmanaha. It says Mahatmanaha, a person becomes great soul. Why? Because a guru, if this person treats Yasya Deve Parabhaktir, if this person worships Supreme Lord or demigods, Yatha Deve Tatha Guru, he worships Guru also as the Supreme Lord, as a representative of the Supreme Lord. Tasya, for that person, etehi, certainly, tasyetehi, katitaha artaha. It says artaha, the meanings of what is there in scriptures, meanings of what is there in Vedas. Katitaha artaha, direct meanings. Also, it can be broken into akatitaha artaha, that which is not directly implied also. Prakashante, they become revealed. So, if one has to advance spiritually, one needs Guru's mercy. And the Guru's mercy is obtained when one submissively serves the instructions of Guru. So, I think it's time, 8:40. So, we'll share some reflections, then in close. Okay, everyone is ready? Reflection time? I didn't remind this time. So let's see how many reflections will come. Yeah.
Anyone to start with? Dear Krishna. Vrinda.
Start.
Hare Krishna, I understood from today's class that a guru's mercy is a very it's very helpful in going back to Krishna. And you said that in the scriptures it says that pulling the Rattas thing it says you can go back to Godhead, but why do we keep coming back and taking birth? It's because to go back to Krishna we need the mercy of Guru, and for that we have to do what the Guru says and follow their instructions.
Meda. Both Medas.
Thank you for reading the class today. I learned that if a guru gives you an instruction, you can't follow it simply by the letter of the law, but instead by the spirit of what they're telling you to do. And in order to be able to follow by the spirit of the soul of their instructions, you have to completely understand the Gita and the Vedic scriptures. I understood how Isha said it's not just doing it for the sake of doing something. You have to do it wholeheartedly and actually believe in what you do, so you can fulfill your achievement completely.
Hare Krishna. So my two things are, one, that we shouldn't serve for self-gain, that it should be selflessly when we are with our Guru. And the second part is how our Guru is kind of like our connection to Krishna. So even if Krishna is upset with us, our Guru can talk on behalf of us. So the importance of having someone like that.
Telugu చెప్పండి.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what I learned today was that taking knowledge and receiving knowledge from a guru can help us, since he's a representative of Krishna, can help us expand our spiritual potential and advancement. Hare Krishna. I learned that to advance in spiritual knowledge, you have to serve your guru wholeheartedly, and that your guru is what will bring you back to Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In short, from today's learning is if you do selfless service to Guru and follow his instructions, anything is possible. And pleasing Guru is most important, and automatically you get the blessings from Krishna. And Guru also considered as a Trikala Gnani who knows past, present, and future. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Not much, but understanding the tattva and following it is more important.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very wonderful class, but I do have a question. We do have all gurus and all the paramparas, but does it not apply to the Daksha, all those that Nagaloka, all those that even Indra, they have a guru, right? But why not for the Nagalokas? So are they allowed to do all kind of nonsense? Can you elaborate something on that?
What's the question again?
No, Daksha, right? Daksha did all kind of nonsense.
Mhm.
Give all the troubles.
Mhm.
But they don't have guru.
Mhm.
So if they have a guru, why they are doing it? Why the guru is not stopping them, and why they are not giving mercy to them to be a good person?
Yeah, the example that's given is having a guru doesn't mean one voluntarily accepts to serve the guru both in letter and spirit. So one example that is given is if the sun is open, sun is there everywhere, right? If one chooses through his free will to stay indoor and not get exposed to sun, sun is not visible to them. So it is the same way. So Nagas also, they have their own guru, but then they are, like in this case, Takshaka was overpowered by his desire to want this kundala. So Krishna says there are three things that are ways to the hell. What are those three things? Yeah. Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Tasmad etat trayam tejit. So if one gets surrendered to these, then Guru's instructions, they're not following. So Takshaka was such one example here, where he was overcome by the Kama. So.
But he's already in hell, right?
He is already in?
Almost he is in hell, right?
Nagaloka is not hell. Yeah.
Closer to the hell.
Yeah, but it's not hell. Yeah. Like many people think even Sutala, where Bali Maharaj stays, actually the scriptures talk about Sutala is very close to the Patala Loka. Sutala is even more opulent than the Indra Loka. So even though they are all in the planetary system, they are below the Earth planetary systems. They are still exalted. So Nagaloka is exalted because Vasuki is one of the Naga, and Ananta is one of the Naga in which Lord Vishnu is residing, is resting. So, thank you. You have any other reflections?
I want to add something to Prabhu's question. I want to add a little bit to Prabhu's question. Prabhu's question was why the Takshaka is not stopped by the Guru, right? Even though they have a Guru. So I'm just trying to understand another example of Kauravas and Pandavas. They both have a Guru, and same Guru actually. But Pandavas followed the Guru's instructions and they were successful. And Kauravas, they did not follow the instructions, even though they have a Guru like a Takshaka. So maybe we did not follow the Guru's instruction. That's what I got reflected into the claims. Good question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Very deep meaning of word Guru and Guru's mercy. So that was very good to know. And then mainly, okay, how serious you need to be to follow Guru's instruction. That's very powerful. And then it was like enlightening. Like, oh, that's why we hear a lot Guru, Guru, Guru. But I'm like, oh, it's what it is. And then another thing to add is not to do just by the letter, but the spirit. that just reminded me, like, they say we all do rituals for deity worship or anything, but if you don't do it with spirit, then it is not spiritual. I keep reminding, like, don't do for the sake of doing it, but if you understand the tattva, then you'll also enjoy what you're doing it and have the real benefit. That's it. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thanks for the wonderful class. Being one of the last persons giving reflections, so I don't have much to add because everybody has covered that the importance of the Guru and how we have to be submissive in learning from Guru and how we can serve the Guru. Wholeheartedly, we have to really understand the essence of serving the Guru, not just like superficially doing it. In this connection, two things came to my mind, which I just would like to share. When one of the reflections that suddenly come to me, though we did talk about, it's in the Bhagavata Mahima, there is a story of Gokarna and Drudakari. So when towards the very end of the story, when Gokarna not engages, like Gokarna arranges for the recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. Then Dundakari, who was his soul, who was sitting into the bamboo stick. The soul was sitting in the bamboo stick. How? By listening submissively. That's again the point. How submissively? Because he was listening, he was liberated right there. Even though he was a very, very simple soul, the Vishnu Dutas came, and as the Srimad Bhagavatam ended on the 7th day, he got liberated and he went to Vishnu Lok. The question that came at that time was, there were many other people who were also sitting at that time in the same hall listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Why didn't we get liberated? And the answer is, it is all about how much attention you were paying and how wholeheartedly you were willing to accept the message, and what is your connection of the heart and the soul with the Krishna at that time? How much understanding are you developing? Are you just, again, in English, there are things called hearing and listening. So are you listening or you're hearing? That's the thing. Are you listening to the core? Are you trying to understand the core? Or are you just sitting there listening just to get the feel of just for the purpose of listening? So that one reflection came to me today, that we, in the same manner, we have to try to be very, very open to Guru's instructions and follow what they say, so that we can cleanse our heart and become close to Guru. And if we have Guru's mercy, then we can achieve Krishna. There was second one that also came to my mind. If it's okay, I can share quickly for 2 minutes. This is one of the stories that you asked us last class to read, which Mataji shared in a Bensalem group about the Ananda Priya Mataji, I believe that was her name. And she said that how for 23 years she was a Vaishnavi and she was serving in Mayapur and doing 100 things as part of her devotional service. And she was chanting her rounds every day. But at the time of the death, when she met the Krishna, she realized it. I was chanting just for the sake of chanting. I was multitasking most of the times when I was chanting, which means I didn't follow my Guru's direction to do attentive chanting. And that's what she realized it when she met Krishna, and then she said, I have to do attentive chanting. So I can take this back on me. I can be so wrong, but I'm a learning person. I am not perfection like anybody. I'm very beginning. I just started following ISKCON and Harinam. So whatever in busy schedule, I can manage to do chanting. I just try to do that chanting attentively and wholeheartedly. I think Krishna knows at this point of time, I am involved in so many karmas, and which only Krishna gave it to me. He only put me in this life. He only put me to do the job. He only put me to take care of the house and the children and everything. So he only put me into that karma role. I didn't choose it. He put me. If he did put me, then he also understands my struggles and my pains and where I'm falling behind. And I want to improve. I want to do attentive chanting. I want to do 16 rounds of attentive chanting every day. But I pray to Krishna to give me that mercy one day that I can do it. But until then, whatever I can do, I try to do with love and devotion. It may not be 16, it may be 16 some days they are not 16. I try, I do the best I can. However, I try to do very submissively, attentively, whatever I can do. I think in this way, in my heart, I'm saying I'm doing justice to what I'm doing. I just don't want to do the rounds for the sake of doing the rounds. So this is my little reflection from today's class. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mandaji. I think the Dundukari example of the difference it makes about attentive listening and just for the sake of listening. I think probably all the kids know this better, right? Like it's the same lecturer, same lecture, same class, but different people get different grades. What's the difference? It all depends on the purpose behind you being there, right? You know, if you're there for learning, you're absorbing it. So the purpose of Dundukari that was there was he had a goal in his mind. The goal was what he had to just get out of this samsara. And to that goal, he was applying the listening towards that goal. So that is where the tattva comes, tattvataha, to understand what we do, why we do. There is a goal, and that is where, like, Ante Narayana Smriti, in all our activities, it has to be. One story that reminds me of is the story of Kanakadasaru. He's a great saint in South India, Madhva Sampradaya. And his guru calls all the disciples and then Guru gives a banana to each one of them. Many of you probably know the story. And Guru says, take this banana and go and eat in a place where nobody can see. So all the disciples, they grab and then they go, somebody eats it, in a dark room, somebody puts a curtain around, eats it, somebody goes to a far off place behind a tree, hides and eats, right? And then when they come back, so Guru asks, did you all eat, right? And then tell me where all you ate. So all the disciples, they give a place, like I went to this place, I ate, nobody saw. I went to this place, I ate, nobody saw, right? Now, in the end, when Kanakadasa's turn comes, Kanakadasa shows the banana. He says, I couldn't eat. Why? Because I could not find a place where nobody is watching, because Krishna is watching everywhere, nowhere we are. So he understood tattvataha, not that other disciples were given different lectures, right? Everyone was taught the same philosophy. But the way he understood, that understanding was completely different because of his entirely different goal and attention, right? Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Archana Mataji. One sentence, two sentence.
As everybody has already stated, the first thing we need to understand the inner depth, the tattva, and try to follow the instructions of Guru with the dedication and be truthful to that so that we can reach to Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's very easy to say that Guru is the person, is a link between the devotee and the Lord.
Was that your home?
He's a link between, the Guru is a link between the Lord and the devotee. And unless the Guru guides us properly, we wouldn't be able to reach the sublime position where we really want to be. That's what I thought.
Thank you. Mataji, you came late. You want to share any reflection?
I came very late, Prabhu, sorry. But
Last with my
No, there are some online devotees.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's take up online devotees before they leave. Okay. Hare Krishna, Muralidhar Keshav Prabhu and Vatsala Mataji, do you have any reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the lecture. Thank you for having the Zoom meeting. Thank you. One thing I understand, Guru is very important. And by Guru's grace, we can achieve. Right now, I have only Srila Prabhupada I depend on. I have been depend on him for 35, 40 years. First Guru was my father. Without him, I wouldn't have learned anything. And with my father's grace, I am living. And also Srila Prabhupada's grace, I can do what I can. I haven't accomplished a lot, but I try to do the best I can. Guru is our life and soul. So without Guru, nothing can be accomplished. There are different types of Guru. I think each one is important. Shyam Kumar is also one of the Siksha Guru. Mukta Sangha is Siksha Guru. All my other kids have taught me a lot of things. And other gurus are there too. I cannot mention too many names, but it's very nice. Make sure that you are also reposting the questions. I work in a slow way, so I can try to answer the questions little bit at a time. Please repost the questions. That will be helpful for me. Thank you so much for your lecture. I do listen to it very carefully. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. That was Pranam. Always Shishla Prabhupada. So Prabhuji, first of all, like very, very nice lecture. Very nice points you raised. And I'm very curious to know, like, from where are you learning all these stories? Because at least I haven't heard these stories anywhere, anytime. So if you can, or maybe if you tell me later, that's also fine. I would like to know the source.
All these stories are from Mahabharata.
All these stories are from Mahabharata, Muralidhar Prabhu.
Oh, Mahabharata. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mahabharata has a lot of these kathas, upakathas. So everything is from, all the stories today is from Mahabharata.
That's why I wonder, like, I haven't heard this, so, and also I haven't heard many lectures from Mahabharata. So that answers. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very nice points. And I'm happy. I was also very much happy to see all the reflections from our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Muralidhar Keshav Prabhu and Vatsala Mataji.
Thank you.
Be one of 7 years. Have some that. Yeah. One earth. Nurse. So. One mother is God. Yeah. King's wife. Okay. Okay.